Pop Topics. And here we are. This is 5051.com's Pop Topics here on 88.3 WMTS Murfreesboro. I am one of your hosts, Matt Boyd, at Matt Neal Boyd on Twitter. And with me, as always, is Casey Shaheen.
Yellow. Casey Shaheen at Gym Class Tryhard on the tweets. We're here.
Just to let you guys know, there are a couple of different ways that you can watch or listen to the show. You are probably listening on 88.3 FM. You can also watch the show on Facebook. We Facebook live stream every episode of the show. Go to facebook.com/5051 radio where you can watch us as well as listen to our sweet and sultry voices. You can also find archived MP3s of the show on 5051.com, spelled out 5051.com. Those also post to SoundCloud and iTunes. Search 5051. Why don't you?
5051.
That being said,
what if they want to call us and they're listening?
You can call us at 615-898-5051. That's 615-898-5051. You can also comment on the Facebook Live video if you want us to see them and see what you have to say and see what you think. And
hot or not,
and watch us not care about what you think.
We don't care about what you think. This is the show where we give you all the media news you need with none of the opinions you want.
And this is the show. Welcome to Pop Topics, the show with all the media news that you need and none of the opinions that you want. Casey,
Matt,
how you been, buddy?
Buddy, last night was crazy, huh?
It was a night, man.
That was a good night.
That was a night.
We so Preds won Game 4, tied the series 2-2. They're heading to Pittsburgh, or should we call it Yinsburg? Heading to Pittsburgh on Thursday for Game 5, and it's gonna be back. It's gonna be back in Smashville.
Definitely gonna be back, no matter what. They will come back.
Forcing a Game 6, buddy. That was a game.
It was a game.
It was a night. What did we do? You wanna walk up through it?
It was crazy.
Matt had a crazy night. The finale of it was wonderful.
We were downtown. We were right in it. We were in the jungle. We were welcomed to the jungle. We went to a couple different bars on Broadway. People everywhere. I don't know. I don't know if that many people just show up for sporting events all the time.
It is
because they always show like the Cavs are in the finals and when they're in Golden State they'll like show a video of like Cleveland, and they're all watching the game and it like looks.
Or they're all just homeless in the streets.
You see them all out like right outside of Quicken Loans Arena. And
proud sponsor of the show.
Here's the thing is that I always feel like that's it.
Yeah.
But, like, there were that many people outside of Bridgestone, and then there were 5 million times more people on Broadway.
Right.
There's Preds at the Park, which I think is at Centennial or somewhere. Ascend Amphitheater was packed. Like, you see all these videos, and none of them are of the same place because they would keep showing the videos, like, during the game.
Now,
and those are, like, if people aren't in Nashville, you don't understand that, like, all those videos that they show are in places that are pretty close to each other, but it's not all the same place.
So, basically,
there's just, like, 7 million people outside.
The news has been saying Nashville is the place to be right now.
It's hockey town.
It's hockey town.
It's hockey town.
It's hockey town. It's hockey town. They were catfish galore. Neve from Catfish, the television show, showed up. He didn't, but wouldn't that be a good...
Is he the silver fox or the probably gay brown guy?
Probably gay brown guy.
Okay.
What if they threw him on the ice? Would that be kind of fun?
If they threw Neve on the ice?
Yeah, throw Neve.
That would be fun.
That would be a good time. Yeah, so it was crazy, but like there's 60,000 people showed up on Saturday for Game 3, and I think almost more showed up yesterday. It felt like more.
Probably.
It was. I mean, people were spilling on the streets. It looked like the. Am I?
It was a madhouse.
Am I crackling?
It was a madhouse.
You hear my voice? Is it?
No, that was
okay.
I just adjusted the arm.
When you look down the street, down Broadway, it looked like. Yeah, I am crackling.
You're crackling.
It's a little buzzy. I might have to switch mics. It's okay. But it looked like the Obama inauguration. Like not with the amount of people that were there, but with the amount of screens that were set up for the people down there. You know?
Yeah. It was just everybody, like because you work CMA Fest, you know how that works. You've worked CMA Fest the past however many years, like 4 years or something. I work CMA Fest at where you work it on 2nd Avenue, and not even that many people for CMA Fest.
Well, there's more for CMAs.
Not out in the street like that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna go mic 4. How am I doing?
You sound great.
Do I sound better?
You sound wonderful.
Am I right there? Oh, it sounds really weird, muffly. Oh, there I am. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was There he is.
You can't walk around.
200. Well, that's how CMA's is. It's 200,000 people.
It's like 7 people could have gotten murdered last night, and we never would have found out.
Oh,
we never would have known.
100%.
You know
very
what I mean?
susceptible. Very scary.
Yeah.
It's one of those crowded places that you don't want to go to if things are happening. You know.
But the good news is that we're all there for the same reason, right? So no one's getting murdered.
We're there to watch our boys smash!
Unless, of course, you run into a Penguins fan. I only saw one Penguins fan all night.
I talked to 2 of my
There was
friends.
I guess I did see a couple because there was some at the bar, but I saw one when we were like walking around on Broadway.
Standing room only.
She was she could have got beat up.
Oh, she should have got beat up.
She could have got smashed because that's what happens.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to brag, but there's a pretty good chance that I'm on 3 different news networks, and I got literally carried out of Bridgestone.
So let's talk about that. So we start up at Bailey's on Broadway, watching the game with friends of the show, and we get back. We just go outside. We're like, you know what? We need to go outside. Like, why are we watching this inside? There's so many people outside. The celebration's going to be crazy. So we go outside and we just trotting around. We end up at Crazy Town. We leave Crazy Town because it smelled like vomit. It smelled terrible.
It did.
And we went outside. I stopped and got a hot dog, and you vanished. We weren't sure where you went. We were sitting there with a friend of the show.
I didn't know where I was going either. I had no idea where I was going either.
You vanished, and we lost you. So we were like, he'll come back to the hot dog cart.
It wasn't really a vanish thing. It was one of those.
Like, I don't want to be there.
Like y'all stopped, and I was on the other side of the current of people when you guys stopped. And I just kind of got carried with everybody. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm riding this wave. I'm just going to see where I go. And I genuinely thought, because after we left Crazy Town, we were on our way to Buffalo's.
No, we were just going to we were going to finish the game on
But that
Broadway.
was the next destination.
Yeah, the next destination was forcing Game 6. That was our intrinsic destination.
Yeah.
Our physical destination, we were going to end back at home base, Buffalo Billiards.
Right. And so I started walking, thinking that I was on my way to Buffalo's. I was very drunk.
I think you were a nightmare.
I think that we need to preface before the rest of the story that by the time we left the first bar that we were at, I was very drunk.
I've seen Matt that drunk before, and the thing about drunk Matt is that drunk Matt will wrestle you in a neck brace, no doubt.
Yeah, I get a little rowdy.
He does.
And then you just had 17 trillion hockey fans.
Hockey Town.
And then it only gets worse. But I genuinely believed that I was walking towards Buffalo's on 2nd Avenue.
You were walking towards Bridgestone.
For reference, if you're not from the area, Bridgestone and Buffalo's are in the exact opposite directions of the bar that we got out of. So it's not like I accidentally took a wrong turn. I was going the exact opposite way. No idea.
You were walking into the frenzy.
Literally had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I turned where I thought I was turning onto 2nd Avenue, and Bridgestone is just right there. And, there's a million people, and so I'm just like, I see this, huge TV. It wasn't a projector. It was like a Jumbotron that was in front of Bridgestone.
4K has nothing on this screen.
And so I'm walking towards it, and I realize that, there's
getting denser.
There's event staff and the yellow jackets, like guarding off the entrance to this little party in front of the TV. But I just walk. I walk like I knew what I was doing, and I was walking. And as I crossed them, because both of the people were looking different directions, one of the guys looks at me, and I hear him. He's already behind me at this point, and I hear him go, "Hey, you can't go." And then he's like, "Nah, screw it." There's 3 minutes left in the game.
Right.
When I do this. So he was just
let him
go.
You vanished at 6 minutes and 7 seconds left in the game.
And so I'm just sitting there, and I realized very quickly that I'm in a VIP party thing that was right outside of Bridgestone with a bunch of clearly rich people. There were 2 dudes that were dressed up in full goalie gear, wearing Friday the 13th hockey masks that were painted like Pecorino's masks.
I saw that. You sent to me a picture of that.
Yeah. And so I get a picture with him, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm around all these people, and they know I shouldn't be there, but they didn't say anything. I'm sure everyone was just as drunk as I was at this point. And so the game's about to be over, and I'm like, well, I'm already this close.
So why not?
I might as well try to get inside.
You were acting like a man with a laminate.
Right. I'm literally 5 steps from one of the doors.
Yep.
I'm just going to try to get into Bridgestone. So there's like 2 minutes left in the game or something. I just wanted to be in there when the game was over. And my plan going in was I was expecting to walk in and there'd be a crowd of people and I could just blend in very easily and not get caught. Mm-hmm. Or at the very least, if they wouldn't try to come after me.
You look like a hockey fan.
Right. So I did, in this, shout out to Victor Rosas. In high school, he taught me how to sneak into movie theaters.
Sup, Victor?
When somebody opens the door that doesn't have a handle on your side, you just hold it open and go in. And so I saw someone walk out, and I was like, this is my chance. I'm briskly walking towards the door. Mm-hmm. And I get to the door, and I open it, and I hear a lady go, hey, hey. And she follows me inside, and I get inside, and there's nobody. There's no hiding. Like, I thought I was going to be able to just walk in. They were already chasing me, but I'd blend in.
Oh, so you were in the mezzanine on the ground.
Yeah,
because everyone that had tickets was in the game.
They were in the game.
So you were in the mezzanine, like the entrance.
I walk in, and there's just 2 cops, a lady behind me, but I just keep going because I'm trying to get to the entrance to level 1.
You gotta go up the escalator.
So that I could blend in. So I'm still looking for a crowd of people to blend into. And I get all the way up to the entrance to the section. Mm-hmm. I get all the way up to it, and I'm almost there. I see the rink, and the lady steps in front of me, and she said, you got to go. And so I turn around, and I don't even say I don't even say, oh, I thought, I'm like, I got caught. She knows exactly what happened. I'm out of here.
I'm looking for my keys.
I'm just like, I just need to get out. So I'm walking back out, and as I'm walking back out, I see a TV, and I stop to watch the TV, and the buzzer goes, and I jump up in the air and cheer.
Freeze frame.
And when I jump up in the air, the 2 cops that were behind me with her grab me by the arms and drunken escort me out of the building and almost literally just throw me out. And so now I'm just back to where I was. I'm back in the VIP party, and the game's over, and all of the news trucks and the news cameras are out on the street, and they're interviewing people, and I'm just getting behind everybody that's getting interviewed, and just trying to get on TV, literally putting myself in front of every single camera that was out there. And the Fox 17 lady that was interviewing a guy, I'm standing right behind him with a bunch of people, and he pulls a catfish out of his I don't know where it came from. We're going to assume it was
It was sitting around his Pekka or his Rene.
It was.
Depending on who you ask.
He pulls it out, and he puts it in the air, then he turns around to us like it's an offering.
Like a gift.
And he brings it
down.
Like
Rafiki holding a tiny Simba.
And I grab his hands, and I kiss the catfish. Mm-hmm. And so then he just goes around to everybody behind me, and everyone just starts kissing the catfish.
Just giving him a little kiss
and
I'm
like, I'm out of here. So I go up, and I go right behind the NBC Sports Network where they're doing the post-game coverage, and I see my boys again. I see the boys in the goalie gear.
Yeah.
They're right there.
The Casey Joneses.
And they're getting like a
Ninja Turtles thing.
They're getting like the cameraman's getting a little, clip of them dancing or being all up in the camera, and I'm right behind them. I have my hands on both of their shoulders, right behind them, and they're like, this isn't for you, bro. And I was like, this is my town. This is hockey town. Okay?
This is hockey town.
And then I go for my second attempt of finding buffaloes, and it didn't really happen.
You did find it.
I barely found it.
Well, here's the deal. When Matt was gone, we didn't know what he was doing. I texted him. And so with Chance goes, where do you think Matt is right now? I go, Bridgestone probably. And I just was making a joke.
Uh-huh.
And then I texted you and I called you, and you said Bridgestone. You sent a picture. You were in Bridgestone, or you had just gotten kicked out. And I was like, for real though? And he goes, wait, seriously? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, let's just finish this game. We'll go back to Buffaloes. In that time, I ran into a young lady and her husband, Artemis and Cesar.
That's
not
her
last name. Yeah, I wouldn't remember.
Artemis and Cesar?
Artemis and Cesar, friend of the show. I ran into her. She was on the cruise that I went on for Matt Roberts' bachelor party. She was the bachelorette party, the bachelorette of that party. There were the 2 on the cruise that hung out. She was the one, and I ran to her and her husband. I started talking to them, and it was crazy. So we ended up back at Buffalo's, and you end up there, and we're just cheering and we're chatting, and then you dropped your phone.
I did drop my phone.
Matt dropped his phone between the booth and the brick wall. I had to fish it out, and it is gone.
It's all the way gone. It was on life support before that with the cracked screen. But then now it's just the worst, and it's in a condom. My phone's in a condom.
You want to go grab it?
I learned that from Arabic Instagram.
Yeah.
They love doing weird stuff.
Fidget
on Instagram,
spinners.
Those Arabs.
Yeah.
And
they're good people.
They are. They like do these like weird videos where they're like, these are all the things you can do with a match, you know? And then you're like, why do you care? And then you scroll down and everything's in like the, what's that called?
Arabic?
The writing though.
Arabic.
The language is called Arabic?
Yeah.
I thought there was a name for it. I didn't know.
There's like Farsi, but that's like a different kind of Arabic.
You know what I'm talking about, like the scribbles.
Yeah.
That sounds a little offensive.
It does.
But you know.
It's okay,
I mean.
yeah. It looks like it should be on papyrus.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It looks like the king's Arabic.
Ooh. It just looks like it looks like fancy Chinese. It's like ooh.
It looks fun to write.
It is. It is.
Anyway.
You know, they write the other way.
Yeah. So my phone's all the way gone. I still don't have Wi-Fi at my house.
Neither do I.
So now I'm a caveman.
We feel
I don't
like
know.
we're in the cave.
I don't know what to do with my life.
It's okay. We're gonna get through it. You know what we're gonna do though? We're going to get into this show, and we're going to get excited because Game 5 is Thursday. It's in Yinsburg.
Mm-hmm.
And we already forced a Game 6, and if they win, if Preds do win on Thursday, that means that it's coming back to Nashville on Sunday during CMAs, during the apocalypse. And I can only imagine that.
The Hawk-pocalypse.
The Hawk-pocalypse. Or Hick-pocalypse, depending on
That's a good point.
You know, the CMA's hockey fan. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be when two oceans meet and they create like brackish, rough waters. That's what's going to happen, and it is going to be absolute insanity. So go Preds. My boy Pecorine holding it down.
That's going to be pretty cool.
That is going to be incredible.
For whoever is the you said it was Sunday, so is that the last day of CMA Fest?
Yes, that is.
So that's like whoever's playing at Nissan Stadium.
Hey.
Whoever's playing at Nissan Stadium is probably the biggest name because that's usually who they hold out like the best guy for the last day.
They might like sneak it in on Saturday because like you have to buy tickets individually. It's not like you go every night.
So that person's going to be at Nissan Stadium, and I almost guarantee you the entire stadium's going to be yellow.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It'd be great if the Jumbotron wasn't the thing. It was like people watching the game at Nissan.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot cooler. I don't really care about CMAs.
No
one cares about CMAs.
What if they canceled the show?
I hope they do.
The country singer. They just like, sorry, bro. And then they just put on the Jumbotron at Nissan.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be great.
It'd be dope.
It's going to be great. Guys, it's Smashville, and this is Pop Topics. That was a great night. It was a crazy night. Shout out to all the friends that we saw, all the friends we made, all the stuff we did, all the drinks we had.
Drinks had been had.
Oh, it was so good. Shout out Chance Willie. Shout out Justin Green. Shout out Chad Roberts, Avery McKinley, Christina Godbout, her brother Matt Godbout. We love you all. Let's get into stuff.
It's gonna be Keith Urban. Keith Urban's gonna have to be playing during the Game 6. He's gonna be at Nissan Stadium during Game 6. Doesn't that suck? Little Big Town. Darius Rucker. Hootie? Come on, man.
Sup, Hootie? Where you blowfish?
Plaid Paisley.
Paisley.
He's the headliner for Sunday.
He played a free show at
I've waited on him before.
I think he played a free show at Wild Horse the other day, and it really rendered all of the other customers on 2nd Avenue completely useless. It was so bad.
Do you think that he's just gonna do an hour of different Nationwide riffs?
Yeah.
He's just gonna play the guitar, just play the Nationwide.
He's probably just gonna write a song about his Blue Cherry rum, whatever his rum company is.
I don't know.
He's got a rum company.
I've waited on him a couple times.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned that before. He was with
he was with
the other Keith, Mick Jagger, right?
Mick Jagger.
Mick.
No, he wasn't with Mick Jagger.
Yeah, he was.
Taylor Swift was with Mick Jagger.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's actually a really fun time. I like that. Want to get into the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So it's been a big week. Big week. All the media news you need, none of the opinions you want. Let's start with, speaking of playoffs. Speaking of finals. While the Stanley Cup finals are going on, so are the NBA finals.
They are.
It's a thank you for setting that up. Look at the bottom of it.
I feel like you said that with a lot of conviction, but it was just a very simple fact.
I was just seeing where you were gonna tag it up. So yesterday, Cavs lost against the Golden State Warriors in Game 2. They're gonna go to Cleveland. Is that tonight or tomorrow?
It's probably not till Thursday.
Thursday.
It might be Wednesday.
They alternate the
it might be tomorrow.
hockey and basketball.
Because they're going to Cleveland, so
they're going to Cleveland.
They take an extra day when they travel cities.
The city's so racist. They set their river on fire because they don't have water.
Yeah.
They're like Brondo. It's what plants crave. So this comes by way of Complex.com, written by Kyle Neubeck. The Cavaliers' locker room defiantly smelled like weed after Game 2. Ooh. So that was happened in California, where weed is legal.
Oakland.
In Oakland.
Oaktown.
Oak City. So how would you cope with losing Game 2 of the NBA Finals in decisive fashion? If you're LeBron James, you apparently unwind with a nice glass of wine. If you're somebody else lurking in the Cavaliers' locker room after the game, herbal remedies might be the solution.
You think LeBron James drinks a glass of wine after games? Not even close.
No.
Not even close. That dude chugs a muscle milk and gets out. Mm-hmm. That dude doesn't drink wine. Why do they say that?
He probably chugs a Brondo. It's what plants crave.
That's a very good point. What do goats eat? Because that's probably what he has after.
Grass and my favorite shirt.
Grass and my homework.
Well. We'll be right back after this messages. Mike Wise, the senior writer for ESPN, the undefeated, and the veteran of newspapers around the country, was the first person to point out a suspicious smell in the Cavs locker room following their Game 2 defeat. After he made sure to clarify he couldn't tell who it was coming from, but he was certain of the scent. Mike Wise's tweet said, the Cavs locker room has a strong reefer aroma to it tonight. Hey, it's Cali, and you're down 2-0, and it's all about pain control. Hashtag NBA Finals. To be clear, I don't know who is imbibing marijuana in the Cavs locker room. Media that entered, player, etc., but it wasn't a dead skunk.
I'm going to go ahead and say it was not the media. I'm going to go ahead and say
who was it?
That it was certainly players, and I'm going to go with J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith.
Junior Smith.
And Iman Shumpert. Shump, as they call him.
Oh, Chumpy Chump.
No question those two were smoking weed.
They just lit up.
Yeah. Those guys seem like the type of guys that...
Do they get drug tested for weed in the NBA?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
So if they were smoking, like...
But I think they're scheduled drug tests. They're not random.
No, near the end. So if they're in the finals, they can kind of juice up or whatever, so they can make a better...
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but even if they do get drug tested, it's probably like once a year. It's probably like a very corporate, just like it has to be done, so it gets done. And they probably have a lot of... Yeah. They probably know well ahead of time, so...
Yeah. It seems like one of those things.
Yeah. So... You don't smoke weed after a loss. Okay?
No. I get in my feelings.
Yeah, that's a celebratory type of thing to smoke weed.
If you're feeling some type of way,
right?
It gets you feeling it.
Right. So like, who to have the balls to light up in a visitor locker room?
It's Oakland, though, bro.
After you lose in a very bad fashion. They got blown out,
dude. The whole like just the amount of memes that came out about Chef Curry serving up some goat stew, about him just juking out LeBron was one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
it's like all the memes that carried along with it. I almost called my friend of the show, Lehman Wilson, about it, but I also didn't want to hurt his feelings because he was in his feelings. He loves the goat.
He does. Guys, that's our first segment in the books, as they call it. We're going to go to a break real quick. I'm going to play a couple of songs, and then we're going to be right back with all of the media news that you need and none of the opinions that you want.
Yeah. Cool. Guys,
after this, we're going to talk about it, okay? We're going to talk about Lil B. We're going to talk about porn, because you know us.
We're going to talk about political correctness. We're going to talk about what jokes are funny and what isn't. We're going to talk about why Bill Maher isn't funny.
Funny. You know, it's crazy how much he hates Donald Trump, but they kind of have the same mannerisms.
They're the same
like
person.
Almost the exact same
They're the same person.
I feel the same way about someone else, but I can't remember who
I'm going to unplug the sound from the Facebook Live. Facebook.com/FiftyFiftyOne Radio. Spell it out. That's where we're on Facebook Live. Go ahead, do the comments, like, follow, share. We have a YouTube page. You can go that on our page. Check it out. We'll be right back. Bye. We back, and we back, and we back, and we back.
And we are back. This is 5051.com's Pop Topics here on 88.3 WMTS Murfreesboro. Matt Boyd, Casey Shaheen, right back in the news. Had a couple of technical difficulties. Had to hop out for you real quick, but now we are back.
Feels right.
And we're going to talk about the news. We're right back with the news.
right back.
Keeping it on the NBA for a couple of seconds. We're back. This show is very well known for Lil B curses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we just know a few things about crossing. I don't know, lifting the cross curse. I got nothing.
Pitchfork.com. This is written by Matthew Strauss. He reports that Lil B officially lifts curse on James Harden. Good for this guy. The Houston Rockets star was cursed in 2015 for stealing the Based Gods cooking dance. On May 24, 2015, Lil B placed the Based Gods curse on Houston Rockets star James Harden. It was not without warning. Harden had been using B's signature cooking dance as a celebration, yet did not acknowledge the Based God as its creator. Lil B issued several warnings, asking Harden only for credit on the dance. Recognition did not arrive, just the Based God's curse. And months later, a lie from Harden that he did not know who Lil B is.
The Based God?
Put some respect on his name is what he's saying.
Put his name in your mouth with some spec.
In the ensuing years, the Based God eased up, lifting a different curse on one-time rival Kevin Durant.
He only has one curse in him at a time.
Right.
He's like,
he doesn't have the wherewithal to curse.
No, because he's got to hold it in.
He doesn't have enough voodoo
Voldemort.
dolls.
It's like the final fight against Harry Potter and Voldemort. He has to like direct all of his energy one place, because if he does this, then the boy who lives is going to take him over.
Right. Then on May 11th, Harden and the Rockets painfully exited the 2017 NBA playoffs, eliciting further sympathy from B, who tweeted the next day, "I apologize to James Harden. I'm ready to talk and end the curse. It's time to talk and be the leader everyone believes you are."
I like that.
End quote.
I like that.
Finally, it has ended. On June 4th, over 2 years after the initial curse, Lil B lifted the Based God's curse from James Harden while on ESPN's First Take.
I love that it's a thing. I love that it's a...
I love that Lil B
so
thinks that that's why James Harden hasn't been doing so well in the playoffs. I love that he's like, this is my fault, isn't it? And people are like, no, I just
think it's like a telltale heart, like guilty conscience thing. Like it's
yes.
the heart.
Yes. Now
just sitting under his floorboards.
It's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
Since this happened, if James Harden starts doing better in the playoffs, be very interesting. That will give Lil B quite the power, wouldn't it? Now he knows that he does all the bidding in the NBA.
Like it's his thing.
Yeah.
The B in NBA is
he controls
Lil
the
B.
NBA. Yeah. What if? Who knows? Who knows?
Do you ever feel like you've been cursed?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what I would have done.
I don't know.
Do you feel cursed?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like things are out to get me.
I am a very superstitious person, but
I just play the victim all the time.
I don't think it's my. I think that it could be my fault, but I do everything I possibly can to
mitigate,
make sure it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Because like last night we were watching the game, and the first place that we were watching it, where we watched the meat of the game, the most of the game. We were at this table. And all of our friends had this table, and there was a bunch of there were plenty of seating options, but I didn't sit down.
We weren't.
I didn't sit down.
We weren't.
And Chance asked me. He was like, "Why aren't you sitting down?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm super. I don't sit down during games. I don't like during this Patriots Super Bowls. Like I don't sit down.
You stand there with your arms crossed.
I don't really sit down.
You nod your head.
Yeah.
And then you run around and give strangers high fives.
Yes.
That was good. It was some good high fives in Bailey's.
A couple good runs in Bailey's. Yeah, it was fun.
Man.
It was fun. But that's why I take this Lil B curse to heart.
Yeah.
I don't want to get cursed. I can't get cursed by this guy.
Like, you ever think like Lil B would give you a curse? Would he take it off?
What if?
Would he take it off people? Like because he's got a curse.
Well, he did, because he took it off of KD, and now KD's in the finals. He's probably going to win a finals.
But then he took it off Harden. That means he has a curse sitting in his holster.
Yeah. Someone's coming up. Don't mess with Lil B is all I'm saying. Don't cross him, dude. I love how he only puts it on sports. Athletes.
Who should he put the curse on?
I don't know. Who else? I don't know if anyone else does the. I think that he should just start.
What about like Charles Barkley? So like he always like trips, like his shoes always get like tied between. Like he's like, Ernie, what you down there doing? And he's like, nothing, Charles. And then he's just like conspiring. And he just, what's going on with my shoes? She's like, I don't know, man. She's like, take a look. Maybe you better get some general insurance about the trip of your own shoes.
I think what if he I think Lil B's from Houston, isn't he? I don't know. Let's just make that.
What
Let's
if
just
Lil B
make
and
that
Paul Wall were
assumption.
the same guy?
Well, they can't be because Paul Wall is very white.
Yeah, he is.
He's the only white man that's been blessed to say the N-word. Much like Fat Joe is the only
we're going to get to that in a second because Bill Maher is proof of that.
That's a very good point.
But we're going to talk about that later. What do you got, Matt?
Speaking of
porn,
avclub.com has a story. It was written by Clayton Purdom.
Purdom sounds like a misspelled porn name.
Purdom.
Porm.
Henty, Stepmon, and other endearing porn misspellings.
I love that he like deems them endearing.
Graphs that divide search data by state can be fun, allowing us the fiction of believing in cleanly, divisible differences.
Did you say divisible? You trying to be contrarian?
Along these artificial state lines and the thrill of tribalists. Too many big words. Like, no one cares that you're smart, Clayton. Like, let's get to the story.
We call him Purd, where I'm from.
Pornhub's opportunistic PR department regularly rears its head around such viral phenomena.
Pornhub rears its head.
And has accordingly created a map of most misspelled search terms by state using their most salacious data set. While some of it's perhaps illustrative, please note the prevalence of searches for anime porn in our great nation's heartland.
Anime porn.
What is much more entertaining is the misspellings themselves, which are their own sort of delightful nonsense. So they have this map, this colored map, of all of the most misspelled porn terms by state on Pornhub.com.
Can I read what the correct terms are?
Yes.
They are porn, hentai, lesbian, cartoon, threesome, ebony, amateur, compilation, and Filipino. And boy, do we rely on spell check entirely too much in this country. Mm-hmm. So, Matt, let's go state by state. What's your favorite one?
My favorite one by far is Lebsium. Lebsium, Texas. Come on, guys.
Texas, South Dakota, and that's not Iowa. What's next to Iowa?
It's Iowa under South Dakota.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I was right there.
Kansas? I don't know.
I was right there.
Who cares?
Nope, that's not Oklahoma.
It's Nebraska. It's
Brasky. Lesbian. I understand Alaska's situation with amateur because I can't spell amateur. I can't even spell restaurant.
It kind of looks right.
Yeah, I can't even spell restaurant.
Right. Threesome is a fun one.
Threesome. And that's
Threesome.
Yeah, in Tennessee it's Porm. In Michigan,
it's Porm like everywhere.
Porm, yeah.
Like there are so many places that misspelled porn, which is not the hardest word to spell.
But is
carton? Now that could actually be a porn category.
Yeah, carton.
Carton.
Just stuck in a carton, or just like cigarettes, like people in Michigan spelling it carton. Michigan's the only one that spells carton. They're looking for cartoon. Bunch of weirdos up there. It's like Murfreesboro, but a state.
No, West Virginia's carton too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Compilation. That's a fun one.
Stepmon. Stepmon, imbrada.
That's what I'm saying. That could actually be. Did we make sure that these weren't actual categories? Because that one sounds like it could be.
I'm going to talk to our research and development, our research fact-checking department. Robin, can you go search those up for us, please? Thank you.
Mississippi, Anature.
Anature.
Like, that's misspelled on a couple different levels.
Yeah, I don't.
How do you do this? How do you? They're just in such a rush.
In terms of all the people that spelled the 4 states that say amateur, I'm going to say that Alaska and Alaska and what state is that? Is that Rhode Island?
Sure.
Alaska and Rhode Island are the best at spelling amateur because Mississippi is amateur, and then North Carolina is Amaturr.
Yeah, that's not even close.
That's just
not even.
You gotta
close.
try. Spell check won't even help you out there.
No.
You spell anything wrong? What words do you have trouble spelling?
Restaurant. Restaurant's a hard one.
Restraint, definitely. I've hacked that one though.
I don't know. I'm a pretty smart individual.
You are.
I'm kind of a genius, so I don't really spell stuff
Chushingura
wrong.
right now.
Chushingura. There's a spelling bee the other day. Now that we're talking about it.
Scripps spelling bee.
I think a little Indian kid won.
Oh, no way.
Definitely a little brown kid.
Yay. Proud of him. Good job.
I want to see a kid spelling bee where they have to spell porn terms.
I don't know if I want to see that.
They don't get to. It was a little girl that won the spelling bee.
Was it Attila and the Bee?
Did you see that video? She went on like CNN she went on CNN and they were like asking her questions.
Was she spelling every answer?
They asked her to spell kofif.
Kofifi.
And and then she spelled it right, and they were like, "Oh, that's not even a real word." It's so crazy or she spelled it wrong. She was like, and the lady on the show said, "You probably didn't know how to spell that word because you're so used to speaking in Sanskrit or writing in Sanskrit or something." Yeah, that's what she said.
Way.
Yeah, I mean, not in those exact words, but they said like, "Oh, she couldn't spell that right because she speaks in Sanskrit." This little like 8-year-old girl, like this little
that didn't happen
right there.
Did it really?
Yeah,
I got to see that. I'm gonna search that up whenever I get the chance.
It's great. Like
if someone can pull that video up for us, that'd be great. Drop it in the comment section on Facebook Live.
It's one thing.
5051 Radio.
It's one thing when you accent. There's like Freudian slips, But when you tell a joke, and this kind of blends perfectly into if we want to go ahead and talk about Bill Maher, like you just think that that's an okay thing to say. Like that enters your head. The problem is, first of all, it enters your head. Mm-hmm. That you think that you're allowed to just say to somebody, "Oh, you didn't spell that made-up word right because you speak in Sanskrit, which isn't even a real language." Grown adults. These are grown adults that have TV shows on very, very highly rated TV channels.
Fake news. No, I want to talk about I do want to talk about Bill Maher, Kathy Griffin, Stephen Colbert. We've talked about the FCC.
Kathy Griffith.
And there were. I'm gonna kind of parlay into the story with this. So this comes by way of Complex.com again. This is by Joshua Espinosa, and the headline is Harvard reportedly revokes offers to incoming freshmen over offensive memes. The story goes, a group of students has lost their chance to attend one of the most prestigious schools in the world, all because they decided to post stupid memes. According to the Washington Post, Harvard University has rescinded the acceptance offers of at least 10 incoming freshmen who allegedly shared sexually explicit, violent, and racist memes. It reportedly began after some students connected on Harvard's official class of 2021 Facebook page. Feel old yet? About 100 people participated in the private message where they exchanged memes. However, some students decided to create an offshoot messaging group called Harvard Memes for Horny Bourgeoisie Teens, which, as the title suggests, included many that would be considered obscene. Now, they were obscene. A lot of them were, for example, one of them was a cartoon of a Mexican child hanging out that said "Piñata time," and things like that. Like, I don't. That's not funny. Like, it's not. There's no nuance to it. Like, Harvard is the place where the Harvard Lampoon started. That's where most of the writers in late night come from. Mm-hmm. It's where a lot of the writers from Bill Maher are from, which would make sense.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher. The National Lampoon. Have you ever watched the National Lampoon documentary on Netflix?
No.
It's really good, and it's funny to see what they're able to pull off. Talk a lot. It's just satire. I want to show you this. So they would do like really absurd titles to things. Like, look at this. So this one, for instance, this is one of the famous ones. It's on the magazine. It said National Lampoon. The issue is titled "If you don't buy this magazine, we'll kill this dog." And it's a picture of someone holding a gun to a dog's head, and the dog's looking like kind of human like what's going on here? That's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. It's playing with the idea like, oh no, I don't want you to kill that dog. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, let's play along. But when you like are obsessively, when you're specific about stuff, I just hate it. Mm-hmm. There's no nuance. There's no subtlety. It's not playing with the form. It's just deceiving. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Where are you at on that? On satire and what Kathy talking about Kathy Griffin.
Well, when it comes to this this Harvard, the Harvard University story, where they're revoking offers to freshmen based on memes that they have either created or reposted or retweeted or whatever. Yeah, welcome to college, Harvard. That's just what college kids do.
Yeah, I guess so. But I never took part in stuff like that, though. I never shared an offensive
In
meme.
memes?
Well, I don't like memes in general. I think some of them are funny, mostly Black Twitter memes. But I don't find like
those are like the most offensive ones usually.
Well, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like when she looked like a foot, or like when you nut but she's still sucking, but the button and the faces. That's funny. Those are very funny. Those aren't offensive. Those are little. They're like the two kids standing on top of each other. They're like two naked kids. They're cartoons. They're like, we're supposed to get on top of each other. Then what? That's silly. That's a New Yorker.
I just don't think, like, in this way, it says an incoming freshman that got their invitation or whatever it's called, rescinded, said, on the one hand, I think that people can post whatever they want because they have the right to do that. I don't think the school should have gone in and rescinded some offers because it wasn't Harvard affiliated. It was people doing stupid stuff. I just find it really hard to like take away an 18-year-old's dreams because they like retweeted some pretty stupid offensive memes, because that's too young to ruin someone's life. Yeah. Like it's one thing if you don't get to go to
someone's life by sending them to college and making them choose what they're going to be.
But this is Harvard, you know, like
Harvard.
This is we're not talking about, you know, MTSU poli-sci majors. We're talking about people that we talk about people that matter. We're talking about like these kids that are like geniuses, but they are still teenagers. They're still children. I mean, they're still kids, and you can't get mad at them for doing stupid stuff on the internet. This goes back to,
you'd feel like they'd be smart enough to not name it the Harvard, what was the Harvard something for bourgeois teens, or what character? Right, go up there.
Well, the name of the Facebook page that these were being posted on was Harvard's admissions office.
Yeah, and then the
class of 2021.
Yeah,
Harvard.
And then they opened up another one for, it's somewhere.
You got it on your screen too.
It's Harvard affiliated if you're like putting your name to it. Plus, it's a prestigious place.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Brand. But I mean, they're still just kids.
They are kids, but I mean,
there's still. I think that there's a way to teach people that they're responsible for the things that they say. I don't think that ruining an 18-year-old's college career over memes is the right way to do it. I mean, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier a few shows ago about, like, I am so grateful and I feel so fortunate to not have this record of everything that I thought and did in high school and my early years of college. Because I was like never on Facebook. Twitter wasn't like a real thing yet.
You weren't on MySpace?
I would never had a MySpace.
Oh, man.
So, like, I am so grateful that, like, all that stupid stuff that me and my friends said, we just said it to each other. Like, we weren't putting it on Facebook. Because I guarantee you, I haven't seen the memes. I guarantee you, they are just as bad, if not as bad as the stuff that me and my friends were saying to each other. And, like, if I was being held to the mirror of how I was when I was 17, 18 years old, I'd never get anything done.
Well,
I just wouldn't.
I feel like when... That's something I have problems with even doing the show, is saying something, because I don't know how to control what I say and how it's perceived. If I'm saying it one-to-one conversation, I could say something a little bit jeering or something. Like the other day, I was at saying it right now will make me sound like a terrible person, but in context, it was very funny. I told a little girl, she was 14, she was in a wheelchair because she had arthritis. I told her to stop playing the victim, and I told her to go, you should go try riding your wheelchair down some stairs. And she goes, why would I do that? I go, well, what doesn't kill you makes me stronger, or makes you stronger. And she said, but what if I die? I go, then you weren't strong enough. And her dad, she and I were laughing because I'm like, you're a smart kid. Like, I like who you are as a person. I'm just picking on her. Now, the way that it's being perceived is terrible, but the context of it made sense. So, like, they're representing Harvard by being in a Harvard, even if it's just affiliated by them. They're representing Harvard. They're saying terrible things. I don't know. I just feel like it is a little bit. It's not warranted that they get their entire academic life completely destroyed, but there needs to be like some sort of thing where it's like, you really can't do that. You're not. Well,
yeah. I completely agree. I think that I'm not trying to protect the fact that they probably represented themselves on some pretty offensive things. I'm just saying that I don't think that rescinding their offers to go to Harvard University is the right way to what kind of face are you trying to save? I mean, I guess I know what kind of face Harvard's trying to save, but at the end of the day, it really is one of those just like kids will be kids. You know, kid's gonna kid.
Yeah.
And holding these kids to like a higher standard just because they're going to Harvard, I kind of understand, but at the end of the day, they are still kids.
Yeah.
They are still people that are they just got out of high school.
Well, I don't know, but if you treat them like kids, though, then they're not going to, like, learn from their mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, but but what I'm saying is there is a way to teach them, but it's not taking away their college career.
Yeah, like when I got put in timeout when I was a kid, it never helped.
Mm-hmm.
It never, like, I got put in timeout, I'm like, oh, what, I can't go hang out with my friends? I'm going to go figure out something else. I got an imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I got some pud to pull.
I think that there is a point in which you have to teach people, like I said, that they are responsible for the things that they say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if 17 or 18 years old is that time. I don't think that's the time to be like, no more, you're done because you said or did something. Or in this case, I don't think these kids were making the memes. They were just reposting them. It's not like they were creating the offensive stuff. They were just like looking at it. They were just they were just a part of it.
Lampoonists.
Yeah, God forbid,
the funny Harvard lampoon.
God forbid some 18-year-olds in this country just like find some offensive stuff funny.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I just can we teach them how to be funny?
Not my job. I don't know if that's anyone's job, but I guess you can.
It feels like it's everybody's job though, because like. You look at we can move over to Kathy Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
She did that video where she held up a beheaded Trump mask covered in blood all over the news. That's not satire. That's not, like, you're not making a point. That's political art, if you want to call it that, but in no way is it satire.
Yeah. Well, I guess it is technically satire. It's not funny, but it's provoking. She was being a provocateur by doing that.
But it wasn't good though.
It wasn't good. No, it was not good. I think that's the main point, is that it wasn't, and the other point is that she, my friend, is old enough to know that you can't do things like that.
You're right.
Now, had some 18-year-old art student like drawn the same picture of what she was being photographed doing, would it
have been lauded?
It would have just it wouldn't have been lauded, but it would just been one of those things where it's like, okay, you're just a stupid little kid that doesn't know how to say things this is a little too far.
Yeah.
When it's someone like Kathy Griffin who's been in the spotlight forever,
and who's always been just not. She's always so heavy-handed.
Yeah. And it is 100%. I'm not saying, that people need to get in trouble for doing something like this, but it does need to be. It is worth mentioning that like this is a bad move. Like it's, I think that if you step into the batter's box, you're gonna have strikes and you're gonna have hits. But we can't get mad at the ball when it's a strike. You know what I mean? Like you can't just get mad at people for doing things that. You can't take away someone's right to do something like what Kathy Griffin did, but you can tell them that what they did was wrong.
Well, I mean, I feel like she's just had enough strikes where she is out. I mean, she's always
for sure.
Like when she did. I look at it like this: like some things that kids don't need to see. Kids don't need to see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like on New Year's Eve, the CNN New Year's Eve thing. Like maybe it's on the TV, and one time she like faked fellatio on Anderson Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Not funny because So what? He's a gay guy, and you're a D-list comedian based on your own like you voluntarily said you're a D-list comedian. Therefore, that's where you're pigeonholed. So that doesn't give you the license to just do things that kids might see, because you're not allowed to raise other parents' kids or other people's kids. You can like correct them in public, but I don't think that you can subject them to certain things just because that's just the way they have to wise up. Like that's not your place. She does things where she always seems to push the envelope, but that envelope just is full of absolute dog crap, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
she's not funny.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You can't tell someone to stop being provocative because of the kids.
Well, I can't tell her to stop, but we can stop paying attention to her.
Yeah, 100%. I was never paying attention in the first place, but something like this comes up and it's just one of those things. I look at this as you can only go so far. Like we're at that point where people are trying to make political statements without even thinking about what they're doing. And this is, I don't think that what she did shouldn't be allowed. I don't think that what she did should be illegal. I'm just saying there was no thought put into what she did. There was absolutely no thought. I was like, hey, what if you held up a fake bloody face of Donald Trump? Okay, yeah, let's do it. It's like, was there any thought after that? Did you know what you were getting into? Because she apologized right away after she did it.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, it was
and
a bad call."
She even said, like, I might not have a career after this. And it's like, so was it worth it, Kathy?
Was
it really worth it?
This is the problem with her. She asked for sympathy rather than taking responsibility for it, being like she didn't even believe it. She was just being provocative just to be provocative. But the fact is, that'll bring us to another article. This says in the Washington Post. It's called "The Celebrity Apology is So Popular, Even Provocateurs Are Doing It." This is by Stephanie Mary, again in the Washington Post. Apologies are so on trend right now. I'm just going to kind of go to it. About Kathy. Over the course of her career, Griffin has been nothing if not unapologetic, despite mocking Oprah's weight gain, stripping on Letterman, dropping the F-bomb on live television, and announcing during the red carpet special that Dakota Fanning, who was a small child at the time, had just checked into rehab. By the way, last one, kind of funny joke. She apologized on Eve for the last false comment and made a donation. Then they made a donation to UNICEF in Fanning's name as a public display of penance. So she said, "I went way too far." She said in a video she posted to Twitter, "The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. Yeah, it wasn't funny. I get it. I beg your forgiveness. I beg your forgiveness." Cool. Beg your forgiveness. Then she goes and does another press conference where she's saying that she did it because the Trumps broke her. And now both Melania and Donald Trump are coming after her specifically because it offended Barron. And she's like, "Oh, but they're coming after me. They're backlash." You don't get any sympathy. You didn't put any thought into it. You put the joke out there. Now you have to live with the consequences. If you have the balls to do it, you have the balls to have the consequences. You can't ask for sympathy.
Right.
Live with what you say. Stand behind what you say. I would respect you more if you did. But she's just looking for attention.
Yeah. Well, I'm not on board with that. Like this whole thing where people are like, Barron saw it, so it hurt his feeling. It's like, who cares? You're not about to
get that boy's name out your mouth.
You're not about to make me feel bad for Barron Trump.
I don't feel bad for Barron.
For him seeing a fake picture of his beheaded father.
I wonder how.
You know what I mean?
Malia,
I mean, I get it, but I just don't like that was the immediate thing, is that Trump came out and said my children saw that and thought it was real. And it's like, okay, well, could you imagine
that's the only...
when Barron grows up and he hears the things that you said that were real? Can you imagine what he's going to think?
He's like, Dad was off his rocker.
My dad was a bad man.
He was a bad guy. Isn't it weird that he only addressed the fake bloody head from like that kind of criticism from Kathy Griffin, when that is literally fake news? It's like it was art, and everybody's like, that is he actually made a statement by saying something. I know, I'm just thinking about that now. It seems kind of ironic. Yeah, so there's that, and we got 2 minutes till top of the hour, and we're playing it. Joey put it on the computer.
Wonderful.
But that's the thing about the celebrity apology, and then Bill Maher coming in and saying stuff like, "Man, how do you feel about that? Do you want to wait till after the break to talk about it?" It's on the desktop. Yeah, if you minimize, go to the desktop. Guys, you are listening to Pop Topics here on 88.3 WMTS. We are on Facebook Live, facebook.com/FiftyFiftyOne Radio. Spell it out, 5051 Radio. We have a YouTube page. It's up on the Facebook page. You can go click that. Go subscribe, like it. It means the world to us. It would mean the world. We edit these videos. We have the podcast on iTunes. Just search 5051. SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/5051 Radio. Guys, it's so hard not to listen to us. It's almost like you're not trying.
If you're not listening, you're actively trying to not listen.
That's fine.
And for those people,
reverse shout out
to those people. So back to the news. All the media news you need, none of the opinions you want. We were talking about Kathy Griffin and what she did, the pictures that she was a part of.
Or what pictures Trump's head was a part of for his body.
There we go.
Hey. What's up?
It's one of those things where it's like, you can't tell people to not do these kinds of things, but you are well within your right to tell them that it was dumb.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Is like it's not funny, but like you can go ahead and do it. It's just not funny. So don't be mad when people are mad. Mm-hmm. Because they're like I look at Alec Baldwin's Donald Trump for SNL. Mm-hmm. I don't love it. Mm-hmm. I think he's just repeating it and he's just talking like this and he just a little more with his lips, but he says the exact same thing as what the president says. That's not funny. Now if you had like the Key and Peele Luther sketch, mm-hmm. the anger translator for Obama, mm-hmm. but if you had like an intellectual translator for Donald Trump and said what he said intellectually, like that or something, that'd be a lot funnier than whatever they're doing, just like painting him as a bumbling buffoon because he's a bumbling buffoon. Mm. There's no finesse mm-hmm. to it, you know?
Yeah.
Bill Maher. Go for it, man.
Speaking of all of this stuff.
I hate that guy.
Talking about Bill Maher, this last Friday on his show, Hard R with Bill Maher, he said he was talking to somebody. I don't even remember who. He was talking to like some governor or something.
A senator in Nebraska.
He's talking to a senator in Nebraska, and he explicitly said the N-word on his show on Real Time with Bill Maher.
He was invited.
Called himself a house N-word.
He was invited to work in the fields. Mm-hmm. And he goes, work in the fields? He goes, Senator, you know I don't work in the fields. I'm a house N-word. He's like, yeah. Oh, it was a joke.
Yeah.
We're still here.
He did one of those.
We're
he
still
did one of those,
here.
Like,
Because
he didn't say it was a joke. He was just like, because he heard the crowd kind of pull back when he said it.
One guy laughed really hard in the crowd. Yeah. One guy laughed really hard. Like, it was kind of incriminating.
Yeah.
You could almost smell his bad breath.
And so,
his browser history.
You know, naturally, as what would happen when a white man says the N-word on national television, there's a little bit of backlash. Maybe a little bit of backlash from him saying this.
Can we talk about the joke itself and talk about the backlash?
Sure.
Why is it not funny?
It's not funny because I don't want to dissect why it's not funny. I just know
that's not our job.
I just know that it's not funny. I just know that it's a lazy joke. That is an open mic joke. That's not a joke that somebody that has their own TV show and is a very respected's not the word, a highly touted comedian like Bill Maher shouldn't be making that joke.
He just makes fun of liberals. You need to wake up. Islamophobia is real.
Right.
The danger is real.
I just don't think that I think that when you have that platform and you have the voice that he has and you have the amount of influence that he has on that show, you should be better than to make a joke like that. That, you know, if you hear that joke in an open mic in Nashville, you automatically know that it's not a funny joke. Like, it's not a funny joke on any level.
No.
And it's not because it's offensive. That's not why it's not funny. It's not funny because it's cheap.
It's just cheap. Yeah.
It's a cheap shot.
Easy.
It's, you know, and you could even tell when he said it. He kind of had, when you look at his reaction, he kind of has that like, I really just said that, and
I went there. We're still here.
And so he had to kind of defend himself and be like, it's a joke. He did that kind of like blasé, like kind of passive, like, oh, whatever. They're reeling, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know. I do, you know, sympathies towards Bill Maher. It does every time I've watched it, because I've watched that clip a lot. It does seem like...
It sounds like catharsis.
It does seem like he accidentally said it. I don't think he was going into that
did he?
Segment.
Or was he just trying to make sure they melt the snowflakes?
I think that I really do believe that it was just, you know, it was a heat check and he missed. Like he wanted to see what he could get away with, and he went way too far, way too fast. And he didn't get away with it. And it is a bad joke, but should he lose his show over that? Should he not be, you know, should he be forced to come out and apologize if he doesn't really want to apologize, which he has apologized. And
whether his apology is terrible.
Whether he wanted to or not, I have no idea. But
he was going to lose his show.
Like, I don't know. It's a bad joke, but we can't just do this witch hunting thing where we feel like if we make that man lose his job, all of a sudden racism is over.
Yeah, no, like it does feel like very 1930s Berlin.
That's it's also
McCarthy.
It's like, very McCarthyan, where it's just like, but on a whole new level because people are seething. They are literally watering at the mouth and waiting for something like this to happen because they feel like if they complain that they're doing something.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Someone said on Twitter, you're not. He said it so nonchalantly as if it was some sort of. Killer Mike's has a really good response, but he said that he said it despite us. He didn't say it as a word of solidarity. He said it. He was speaking of us. He wasn't with us. He was not of us. He was just speaking about us, and it doesn't make sense. Like if your goal is to like unify people around something, like, or even if your goal is just to be a provocateur, that's not even the way to go. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. It's just not. It's so lazy.
Yeah.
His apology sucks too.
Well,
he complains that it's Alex Jones' apology. He says Friday night was really hard for me. I have trouble sleeping, and Friday night was specifically hard. It's like Alex Jones saying that he couldn't recall minor details about his kids' lives because he, quote, had a big bowl of chili for lunch.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that Bill Maher has to apologize. I think that if he is, I think that he. I don't know. I haven't seen the apology. I haven't read it. I don't really know. But as far as I'm concerned, just knowing who Bill Maher is before he said this, I can't imagine he wanted to apologize. I can't imagine it's something that he felt like he needed to do. I have a feeling that people above him, people at HBO, told him that he needed to apologize for using the N-word on live television. And I don't think that you have to apologize for things, even if you didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Even if you feel, because especially in this world of comedy, especially in the world of going up there and trying to make provocative things funny, if it doesn't land, that doesn't mean that you have to apologize. If I make a joke, and believe me, I have made offensive jokes at open mics, and they didn't go over well, I don't apologize afterwards because that's not the job.
No, that's not the job.
That's not his job.
But he does. But there is a sense of like there are people, I think that need to be held accountable because he is very flamboyant with all of his jokes. He says a lot of dumb stuff, and it's always like, "Oh, you didn't laugh at that? It's not funny." I'm like, dude, you have a pretty good room of writers. Mm-hmm. Like, why do you kind of just walk all over their material in a terrible way?
Yeah.
He always does it. Can I read his apology and then you can read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Said, Friday nights are always my worst night of sleep because I'm up reflecting on things I should or shouldn't have said on my live show. Last night was a particularly long night, as I regret the word I used in the banter of a live moment. The word was offensive, and I regret saying it and am very sorry. Daddy's still here. Mm-hmm. Apologies don't work. They don't, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do something, man.
Yeah. No, but I kind of agree with him. With the, say he's on a show where he's trying. I mean, he used to host a show called Politically Incorrect.
Canceled.
I think that if it's his job to say provocative things, and sometimes he misses, I think that you missed. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to defend the joke. I think that the joke is a bad joke, but it's not his job to apologize for it.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be defensive, be defensive. In the moment when he did that kind of passive.
Then what's going to happen then? I'm just asking.
I think we just move on for bad look, Bill. Let's see what happens next week. But to make this huge thing where it's just like, this guy's a racist. Like, this guy he has an HBO show and he's racist.
Well, he's definitely racist.
And he's not like throwing around this racist word. Like, if people say something like that, it doesn't make them racist. The stuff he says
about Islam is so absurd. It is so absurd.
I think that we just use the word racist for way too many things. I think
he's very white friendly.
We use the same word for people that lock their car doors in Antioch for people that used to own black people as property. He says things against race, like against people. He might be racial and he might say racist things, but that doesn't make him racist, especially as a comedian. It's his job to try to make people feel uncomfortable or say things that elicit a response. You can't just walk around calling people racist because that's a word, man. That's a very powerful word.
But you look at like a football player, like a Colin Kaepernick. Well, we called him we call him stupid, then we called him a freedom fighter. But he's not gonna get drafted again. He's not gonna get picked up by anyone. So at a certain point, if someone is not gonna perform and they're gonna cause controversy, At a certain point, just sit down. I know now. I don't believe that in terms of like Colin Kaepernick because you know what he did. He stood up for something or sat down on a knee for something. But at a certain point, like someone like Tony Romo can't perform. Take him out of the game.
Yeah, sure.
Let's take him out of the game because let's make some room for people because the people.
But I don't think that Bill Maher can't perform. I don't think that.
I wouldn't call what you say. I wouldn't call it performing.
This is I mean, it's not like he has a good show and he says things that actually do make sense and it's actually a very helpful show. Like I think that for a political climate, a show like Real Time is pretty cool because he has people on both sides of the fence debating with each other on his show, and whether it's funny or not is subjective, 100% subjective. Yeah. But I don't think that this is like that like him saying the N-word is like it's reflective of the entire show because it's not a racist show. It's not a show where he just says racist things all the time. It's just that at one time he messed up, but people don't want to just move past that. People don't want to forgive him because he's an enemy to almost everybody. Because he loves to make fun of liberals. He loves just like everyone else in the world. He loves to make fun of Republicans, and so he doesn't really have a lot of allies in this whole speaking thing.
Okay, here's the thing. I think here's what it is, bud. Here's what it is. It's the fact that he makes his guests, his panel, sit there while he does new rules and laugh at his segments. He holds them hostage. He makes his first interview where he walks from the chair over to the table with all the other panelists. He makes them sit there while he walks around. Like he just seems so dismissive of everyone else that it puts the word in a little different light for me. I watch the show every Friday because I genuinely cannot stand him. Because I'm like, can this guy be any more?
Well, I don't think you're helping. I don't think if you're watching the show all the time.
I'm going to watch things that I don't like. I'm going to watch things that I don't agree with. I'll turn on Fox News. I'll go read Breitbart. So reading Breitbart is one of my favorite things. So I'm like, what are they getting at? What's CNN getting at? I want to see those things because I want to have a well-rounded understanding. I want to be able to justify both sides. So, but I watched Bill Maher, and I find myself more angry than anything, except for 2 weeks ago, we needed to think about superheroes, how America doesn't need superhero movies. I said, like, it's not about one person saving, it's about all of us saving the human race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
His Mars bit wasn't very funny, though.
Yeah. Well, I just, at the end of the day, I'm just a big proponent of it's a strike. Like, he struck out. It's fine. He's going to come back up to bat, and I don't think that if you strike out, you should not be allowed to play baseball.
He struck out a bunch of times, though, because he said a lot of stuff about Islam.
Well, sure. But, I mean, you don't just accidentally get an HBO show. I think that at the very least enough people find what he says effective, finds him funny, or else I don't think he would have an HBO show.
It's also probably a pretty inexpensive show to run.
Probably. But, I just don't... this whole witch hunt mentality of, like, someone said something I don't like, so we need to get them out of here.
Is it different saying something?
I'm just not a huge fan of that.
Like, what about Bill O'Reilly? He said a lot of, like, ridiculous stuff, but then eventually it was his sexual proclivities that were his undoing.
Yeah.
So, do you think that's warranted? His firing for sexual proclivities?
Yeah, well, I think that if you're sexually harassing coworkers, you shouldn't be allowed to work there anymore.
So if you're saying words
anywhere,
to them
if he worked at a Subway and he was saying what he was saying to other sandwich artists, what he was saying to, like, his producers and the PAs and everything, like, if he was saying that to them, then he should also lose his job.
But it's just saying words.
No,
making people uncomfortable.
No, that's sexual harassment. That's a way different thing than accidentally using the N-word on live TV. It seems
like a lot of semantics.
Sexual harassment?
Seems like a lot of semantics.
Okay.
He called that girl hot chocolate.
I don't think it was. I think that he also, I think in part of that, he was also, like, groping women.
He called those.
Like, he was sexually assaulting them.
He would call them, and that was his thing.
That's way different. That's way different.
He was fired for the things that he said. And that's why I'm wondering, like, what the line is and where those go, because that's something I'm interested in figuring out what it is. Like, if you're in front of a group of people, you should probably act in the best interest of the people.
Sure, but when someone like Bill Maher,
if you're gonna work against them, be like subtle.
When someone like Bill Maher uses the N-word, it doesn't incite a crime. It's not that when you say that when you sexually assault or sexually harass someone, that is inciting a crime. That is inciting rape. Like that's what sexual harassment is. It's being sexual with somebody that doesn't want to be sexual back.
But the First Amendment doesn't.
Well, I'm not in this First Amendment debate. I'm just saying.
But in the First Amendment, it doesn't protect hate speech.
No, but sexual assault is not hate speech.
I know, but I'm saying as far as the way it's perceived through Bill Maher, it could be perceived as hate speech based on who he is as a person.
Well, I don't care about the First Amendment's definition of hate speech either. I'm not working on. I'm not talking about the Constitution. I'm talking about how I feel about what people say.
Yeah. I'm just asking.
If somebody accidentally says the N-word, something that you and I have done multiple times, not on air, but multiple times,
this is a family show.
You and I have said very, very bad things. I don't think that if somebody unearths a recording of that, or if we accidentally say it on air, that we should just lose our right to do what we want to do, because it's not representative of who we actually are. It's just a mistake that we made.
Yeah.
If you repeatedly sexually harass someone, you're a bad person.
But if you repeatedly say things that are of race and negative about, I'm only playing the devil's advocate right now because I'm interested in the. Well,
topic. That's the other thing too. The devil's advocate. Like, if you don't actually believe it, then don't say it.
No. I want to know. I want to know because I do like looking at every angle of it.
Yeah.
Because I know what I believe, and it's that go and say what you're going to say. It's not a funny joke. With the people coming at you, why are they coming at you? I want to understand that.
Sure.
I want to understand why the individual.
Well, they're coming at Bill Maher the way that they are because they don't like what he said in the past, and they finally have an in. They have an in. They have a way.
He's apologized before though. He's lost the show on ABC.
No, but I'm saying the reason that people are going after Bill Maher the way that they are is not because he said the N-word. It's because he said a lot of things in the past that they disagree with, and they finally have an in because you can obviously call him a racist because he said the N-word. People aren't going to argue with you if you say that. I will, but most people aren't going to say, "Oh, calm down." People are going to say, "Yeah, you're right." And people didn't become a Bill Maher enemy on Friday.
Right.
The people that are against him have always hated him, and they finally have a good excuse to go after him.
I don't know if that necessarily represents the way that I see it.
Well, okay.
I don't see it that way.
But
you're saying it very definitively.
Yeah, because that's how I see it. I just think that there's a lot of proof, and I think there's a lot of proof in the way that people go after a lot of people. Is that
there's the PR aspect of it where like Killer Mike will go at it, and Chance the Rapper will go at it, and civil rights activists will go at it, Al Sharpton will go at it, because it is a loaded word.
Yeah. And
I don't think there's anywhere getting away from that without just saying get over it. That's the only way that from your base logic is that get over it is kind of like what you have to say to everybody. But like that's very insensitive.
Yeah, I mean I get I guess I really do believe that.
Than not saying the N-word.
No, but I do believe it. I guess I really am saying get over it, and I don't disagree with that. I think it is one of those like, okay, he said the N-word. Like if he keeps doing it, then it's a problem.
No. I'm saying to African Americans, get over the N-word is what based on your logic. That's what I'm saying.
No, not get over the N-word. I'm saying get over Bill Maher saying it once. I'm not saying racism isn't real.
But you say it about this person, and you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile.
Okay, he's
done it before. He has a track record.
No, but if he's
built an entire career on apologizing.
If he starts just saying the N-word all the time, then we do have a problem on our hands. He says it once, we can't just be like, oh,
but
he
it's
might.
Not just the fact that he said the N-word.
That's Minority Report style politics. Is like we're projecting the fact that this person is something. He might be this in the future.
I just don't want him to not have to learn something from this. An apology isn't something. I don't know. In a hypothetical world, how do you say, okay, you said that. What is what is community service? Mm-hmm. What is the equivalent of being on air to community service? What is the equivalent of learning? Mm-hmm. If you lose your license for drunk driving, you have to take your class again. You have to pay your fines. Like, what is that for? Like being culturally sensitive, at least understanding or making a gesture, because the gesture never seems to be there because there was the trust between the personality Bill Maher and the constituency and the listeners and viewers that was breached, and the only way to win it back is he has to figure out how to win it back because he has to understand why it offended people because that's the way the dialogue works. That is his purpose. That is his job as a social commentator.
Sure,
is to do that.
Yeah,
and he's admitted to that. So what he's done is he's by saying the N-word, not only has he defied and breached the contract that he shouldn't say the N-word because he has no right to, but
there is no contract.
Right,
there's no contract for him to not say the N-word.
For the sake of civility, civility matters.
Sure.
For the sake of keeping the peace.
For you, not for him. I mean,
for him, it means more to him than it would to me.
You don't know that. I mean, you don't know that that's true.
Based on,
I think it's pretty clear that it's not
financials.
because he says some pretty offensive things all the time.
Well,
and
because
so
he
do
gets
you.
away with everything.
Okay, but so do you. I mean,
I
and
know.
so do I. I'm not saying it's
But
a
you say
you
that.
thing.
I
I'm
know.
just saying people say that joke that you made to the girl in the wheelchair at your job.
We loved it. We all laughed.
Yeah, you all laughed. But what if you didn't? What if she didn't? What if her family didn't find that funny and they found it offensive? Should you lose your job over saying that?
No, you shouldn't lose your job.
No,
but you should have to sit down and talk and figure out why. Because a lot
should you have to apologize if they didn't find that funny?
No, you apologize that you apologize that it hurt their feelings and that wasn't your intention. But you don't apologize.
How many times have you done that? How many times at your job have you offended people and apologized?
A lot.
Well, then I think that's the difference. I think that's
no. Again, not apologizing for saying what I said. I apologize that you took it that way.
But it's not Bill Maher's job, and it's nobody's job to apologize because they offend people, because it's not their fault the person got offended.
Yeah, it is. Because there's other people. There's other people around. It's not just about you. We don't live in an insulated environment.
I don't think that if you offend somebody, you should have to apologize, because people that get offended can control whether or not they get offended. And it's not my fault if I offend you. It's not Bill Maher's fault. It's not anyone that says anything's fault for offending somebody. It's not their fault.
I just don't know where this. I just don't know where the resolution comes from.
What resolution?
It's what we're talking about right now.
The resolution is get over it. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. Let's move past it.
We will, and then he'll do it again. It's like letting someone off.
Well, let's see if that's true. Let's see if that's true.
But we have we've done it in good faith. Let him go by. If he's gotten shows, he does things, he says ridiculous stuff that is in context based on who he is as a person and the way he speaks about the world through his worldview. It can be very well assumed and justified that what he's saying is out of more malice than it is solidarity. He's not saying it to be like, oh, we're in this together, because he's always poking out and he's always fighting. He's not an instigator the way that Bill Hicks was an instigator. Bill Hicks is brilliant the way he can wax and wane here and back and forth, the way George Carlin could, because they were eloquent, because that's what they did. Bill Maher wants to be taken seriously and also wants to get away with jokes. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's the problem that you're still here, and those are my final thoughts.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say. I don't know where we're gonna get over it. He's gonna do it again. And at a certain point, we got to be like, Bill, we got to start holding him accountable somehow.
Well, 100%.
Not taking away his show, but actually having a dialogue with him. Rather than getting angry, have a dialogue.
And all of that being said, if he does continue to make bad jokes where he says the N-word and it's not even funny, if that continues to happen, then I will be the first one on this show to say that dude doesn't need to have the platform that he does. But we don't have this mound of evidence behind us that says that he's a racist. Have
you seen the stuff? Okay, first of all, the religious documentary, what he says about people with religion. Now, if you want to convince people that there is no God, you don't need to be a complete a-hole about it. As far as Islam,
I completely agree.
After the 9/11 attacks, he said that it is a problem with Islam and that people in Saudi Arabia should apologize, and that we shouldn't allow Muslims in the country. And he incited hate speech against Muslims, and then apologized. And now, here we are again, with him saying something about somebody else, he's othering everybody, and he breaks down his entire meaning. So if he's going to have that platform, use it correctly. And those aren't just slip-ups, those are bad slip-ups. Those are major malfunctions. Those are a peek behind the curtain about what makes him work. And all evidence points to the fact that he's just not a good guy. He's never said anything funny.
Oh well, he's said funny things.
No,
I don't think it's anyone's place to say whether or not, especially behind these microphones, to say whether or not he says funny things.
Well, you're right. But as someone who's lauded as someone who's supposed to say funny things, it's like, when are you gonna show up?
Well, he does show up. Shows up every Friday from whatever time the show is.
I want everyone to watch real time and just watch how.
I don't think that this is an instance where he should lose anything over what he said.
No. He shouldn't lose anything, but we do as a country, as a society, as a culture, need to be able to address the issue. Be like, Bill, are you racist? Can you answer us a few questions? Can you help us out with this? And it shouldn't be a witch hunt. It should be people that just want to genuinely, that have his best interest at heart and everyone else's best interest at heart.
Sure.
Have a mediator.
Sure.
That's how these should be solved. With Kathy Griffin, like, sweetheart, do you just need the attention? Because if you need a spotlight, like, we could probably start a GoFundMe where we can buy you a spotlight. We'll set it up in your house.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get you. I'm sure you have nice vaulted ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put a spotlight, and you don't have to chase it anymore, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we accept you for who you are. Kathy Griffin, you do what you do. I accept you for who you are. But if you're just gonna keep chasing the spotlight, get out of here.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the grossest part. I don't remember who I heard this from.
And
Andrew, yeah. Where they were just talking about the fact that, like, she just did this because she's addicted to the spotlight. Mm-hmm. Like, she needs the spotlight. She can't be away from it. She has this New Year's show, but, you know, she's not as popular as she used to be. And it sucks that when people start doing things just to have the spotlight. That I 100% agree with that, but I don't think that that's the same thing that happened with Bill Maher. I don't think that he does that because he needs the spotlight.
No, because the spotlight's always on him, and he's really careless with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I don't know these absolute statements. Like, he's always doing bad things. He's always
Okay, so I'm gonna instead of saying always, instead of being definitive, I will say.
Oh, absolute. Being absolute is the problem here.
I will say. Then it's just my semantics. Then we could have circumvented this entire argument by saying semantics. Don't say absolute. I say very often, very, very often is he dismissive. He's grossly negligent of other people. He speaks one thing and does another. And it's like, where does the hypocrisy end? If you're going to talk about Donald Trump as a hypocrite, then you, my friend, need to stop being a hypocrite, because then your words are completely cut off at the knees.
Mm-hmm. Well, how is he a hypocrite? How is him saying the N-word on his show on Friday?
It's not what he says in the N-word. The thing he said about, and this goes to Trump's travel ban back a couple months ago, within the first 100 days. He said, not all Muslims are bad. Like, buddy, 2002.
Yeah, but he said that back in 2002. He said that the Muslims were bad.
But he hasn't relented in the fact that he's like, no, the Islams are bad. Mm-hmm. You are all stupid. Oh, you're too sensitive. It's like, no, it's not that we're too sensitive. It's that you keep saying that it's too sensitive, and it's one of the things. It's like, stop. Why do you care so much about how sensitive people are? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you trying to bridge that gap? Because that's what your words are. You are here to do a conversation to figure things out, to push an agenda towards progress as a liberal.
Well, as a comedian.
He's not, but he's trying to be a politician while also being a comedian.
I don't think that's true.
How did Jon Stewart pull it off?
I don't think that's true.
How did Jon Stewart pull it off, and how does he do it?
Well, I don't think I don't think that Bill Maher is trying to be a politician. I think that he's trying to be a political comedian, but that's totally different than trying to be a politician. And I don't think that I don't think that Bill Maher or any comedian for that matter needs to be beholden to platforms and stances, because they're not politicians and people aren't voting Bill Maher into office to say the things on a legal standpoint. I think that what he does, like, if he's a hypocrite every once in a while, who isn't?
I know, well, we all are.
So, but like, I don't think it's not one of those things where it's like we don't hire Bill Maher to do anything. So he doesn't need to do what we want him to do. He's a comedian. He's allowed to say whatever he wants.
I just like him to do what he says he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I don't disagree with you on that, but I do disagree on the fact that, like, if he's going to say something here, he needs to follow through with that all the time, because at the end of the day, it's not like anything that good or bad, anything that he says is influential whatsoever.
It's almost like he's not trying, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a whole different story.
But that's what I'm angry at.
That's a whole different argument.
That's what I get angry at. So, like, the fact that he gets off with this, he gets to go continue to be lazy because he issued an apology. And then
but that goes back to what I was saying. I don't think that he should have ever apologized if he didn't mean it. I don't believe in I believe in apologies. I believe in apologies, not if you don't mean them.
Right.
And I don't believe in saying you're sorry just to save face or just because your boss told you to. Now who am I? I mean, who am I? If I had a show, like, if I was doing what Bill Maher was doing and I said something bad and people said, I'm going to take away your millions of dollars if you don't apologize, who am I to say I wouldn't apologize? I bet I would. But I'm saying that telling people that they need to be a certain way when you don't really know where they're coming from, especially me being an amateur comedian and you and I being someone that is putting opinions out there in public live on a much, much, much lower level than Bill Maher. I just don't think that it's right to just think that he needs to say the things that we say.
But you don't see the. But the thing is, I see the merit in that right there. I see the merit in that. But don't you also see the merit in the fact that you can't just go from 0 to 100 by saying just let it go. There has to be some sort of thing. You have to you have to move. You can't, like, if you're in a ship, a airline or a cruise ship. Let's just say a big old cruise ship. Can't turn on a dime.
Yeah.
It's got to go it's got to turn around. And that's the way it can move around an obstacle. But, like, to say, get over it is just to say, all right, turn on a dime and just go that way. Just keep doing your thing.
But you
have to move away from it. If you're coming to an iceberg and there's going to be a problem and something has happened, if you're going to turn, make it wide so that you don't completely capsize, because we're in this together.
Right.
And that's what I'm asking you. Do you think there's merit in that? Because I think you're dismissing that.
Well, the only
entirely.
reason that I say get over it is because I genuinely don't believe that this is who Bill Maher really is. I don't believe that he's the type of person that thinks that it's okay to say the N-word live on television on HBO. I really don't believe that he's the type of person that thinks that that's an okay thing to do. I think that he slipped up. Now, if we were talking about somebody that is a vetted, has a resume in being effectively racist,
Milo.
I mean, like Milo, or somebody like Steve Bannon, someone that has actual influence over a very, very large amount of people that is proven to be racist. What's that alt-right guy that got punched in the face? What's his name? Richard Spencer. And he says the types of things that he says on a very frequent basis.
I actually find Richard Spencer to be very annoying and very, very, very controversial, but I find him to be somewhat charming in the way that he believes things.
Sure.
He's just like, I'm just going to do what I do. I'm like, go ahead.
But when you look
it sucks, but, like, at least you could have a discussion with him.
When you look at people like that, and then you say something like, oh, Steve Bannon just said the N-word, I think that that's a little bit more representative of the type of person he is and the type of person that Bill Maher is.
Which time?
Yeah, exactly. That's what you would say if someone said that to you. Hey, Steve Bannon said the N-word. When? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What, he went 5 seconds without saying it?
5:30 in the afternoon? Oh, wow.
But I genuinely don't believe that just because Maher said what he said, it's representative of the type of person he is. Because I've made jokes very frequently that are things that I don't believe in, and I don't think should be representative of the type of person that I actually am. But I do, if there's any one absolute that I believe in, it's the fact that people should be allowed to say whatever they want. Because when you start to narrow, even in the slightest, what people are allowed to say, we get to a point where people might tell you can't say the things that you want to say.
You know, but that's so idealistic that, like, it makes sense. It makes so much sense because it's idealistic. But at the same time, like, you have to sort of gear up to that. You can't go from 0 to 100. You can't go from from not being able to say certain words to saying certain words.
But that's an opinion. That's an opinion.
Right. But that's
and you're allowed to have that opinion.
Right, but I'm saying that.
Your opinion is trying to lessen someone else's opinion.
No.
Or lessen someone else's speech.
I'm not. No, not at all. I'm just saying, why don't we as people? Because I believe that too. I believe that we should be able to say whatever you want. But realistically, you're punching. You're just gonna keep. You're shooting. You're just shooting at a. I don't know. There's their metaphor there. But you're just going at a million miles an hour. And you're not considering the fact that, like, comedians are saying things to move culture in a specific way and to make culture reflect upon itself. And so by, like, maybe just just priming the engine a little bit, pressing that little bubble on the weed whacker, prime the engine, get a little gas in the gas line, and then start inserting a few words, start being a little more, and then you start to steer the ship a little bit wider. And I think that's when you actually get to make progress, because you're going to capsize the ship, and it's actually going to close down. It's going to make people's buttholes pucker up every time that you hear a word, because you weren't slowly introducing it to them.
Sure. Yeah.
I know, it's hard for me to justify just going at it.
Yeah.
But but again, I do agree with you 100%. It's just it's the method of remedy that I don't necessarily agree with.
Right. I think that one of the much, much more interesting things, and then we'll get off this because we might have time for one more story after this. I thought that it was really, really interesting how Killer Mike came into this, because Killer Mike is a big fan of Bill Maher. He's a really good friend of him. He's on Real Time all the time. And Killer Mike was defending Bill Maher for saying it, saying that it didn't offend him. It didn't offend Killer Mike, and that he was saying things like this isn't actual racism. What Bill Maher said isn't actual racism. What he said was racist. It was racial, but there are much where it's kind of one of those where it's like, how about we start getting this opinionated about real racism?
Yeah. About
people really getting hurt and their freedoms getting stifled because of actual racists,
like Cleon Brown,
doing racist things. And also the idea that people are calling him racist, and Killer Mike was talking about how he makes jokes about everybody. It's not like he's this guy that is only provocative towards black people and then he says the N-word. He makes fun of everybody. He makes fun of Jewish people. He makes fun of Muslim people. He makes fun of gay people. He's made jokes about everybody on his show. So it's not one of those things where racism by definition is a discriminatory act towards somebody because of the color of their skin. And if Bill Maher is doing this to every group of people, it's not discriminatory. He doesn't treat anybody differently than he treats others. He's just a provocateur, and whether you think that's good or not, whether you think he's a good provocateur, that's up for debate. And I land on the side of I don't think he's a good provocateur.
I would just if he's not a good one, why can't we just want a better one?
Well, you can want a better one, but you can't say that he can't be one. You can't say that he can't be a provocateur.
But we are consumers, and he's at the end of the day, he's living on our living and dying based on the way he's perceived. He's got to know his audience. So can we request that we have a provocateur that matters a little bit more? We got some people walking outside the studio. How you doing? You can give us a call, 615-898-5051. Facebook.com/FiftyFiftyOne Radio. Spell it out, 5051 Radio. That's what we're doing. Matt, you got one? Are we good on that?
Yeah, I'm good.
I feel great.
I'm good.
Guys, I think some of you were commenting in there, so we'll talk about that after this last one. You know what? Sophie's Choice. Which one do you want? I like this one.
I'm thinking that we just talk about, because we only have about 7 more minutes of this show. I'd rather just talk about what people had to say.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because if there was any other story, it would take a lot longer.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to get into it.
We brought some hot heat today. So, let's you take it from wherever you want to, Matt. Nick Danger said about the Harvard story about the students getting their admission rescinded. He goes, "It takes a town to raise a funny child."
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah.
Crystal chiming in, our resident cousin. Our resident cousin. I literally saw the same beheaded painting in an event in Nashville months ago. All about the venue. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about with
point.
Both Kathy Griffin and Bill Maher, is just the simple fact that what they did is very amateur.
Mm-hmm.
What they did was cheap, and I believe, and as well as a lot of people believe, that they did what they did because they were trying to find an easy way to get a reaction. And it's slutty is what it is.
Yeah.
It's attention whoring is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly what they did is trying to find a more efficient way to get people to react. And I just don't. That's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with finding a cheap way to do something. If you want to make a statement like what they were trying to do, you need to put a little bit more thought into it. Make it seem a little bit more. I don't know what's the word. Make it seem
less
a little
lazy.
bit more less lazy. Make it seem a little bit more produced.
Yeah, like when Colbert said that thing about how Trump is just Vladimir's blank holster.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weak joke. Mm-hmm. Colbert, you're funnier than that.
Yeah.
But he knew that, and the FCC they were investigating or whatever. It's just just have a little pride.
Mm-hmm.
Because we I think as a society, we do care about what the comedian has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're telling us what society needs to hear about itself, or what it can hear about itself. Because society the painting can't acknowledge itself.
Mm-hmm.
It needs someone else to look at it in a different way in order to make sense of what we are.
Glenn Freeman also said, if you're going to make the joke in public, you're going to say it even more in private situations. Fair. I just don't know if I agree with that.
I do.
I've made plenty of jokes in public that do not represent the kinds of things that I say in private. They certainly don't reflect the things that I actually believe.
I'm not saying everything that you would say is bad, and I think that's fair. I don't think he's saying that everything that you say is bad. Like if you make a bad joke on on stage, yeah, you're just making the bad joke because you are trying to, in your own sense, be a provocateur and just say something contrarian. But like, if he says like the N-word on there, it's like that wasn't.
But does that mean
that was just like him bantering?
Does
and,
that mean that he says it more often in private?
It doesn't necessarily mean that, and that's why I'm kind of half and half on this one. It doesn't necessarily mean it, but you know, let's just further investigation is needed. But like, it's a decent point.
He also said Matt doesn't care about the amendments. Let's throw this guy out of here. I agree. You
can't just fire him, Matt.
I just don't.
You can't fire him.
I don't agree.
Boy, you can't fire someone for what they believe.
I have a hard time.
But you can help coach.
I have a hard time being like, the amendments are the only thing that matters.
No,
I don't really like people
like
living
and breathing.
Those were. This is a very, I think trite is the word I'm looking for. It's a very trite point that a lot of people have made. But they're like, the Constitution wasn't written for all Americans. It was written for white landowners that had slaves and hated women.
What about rent?
And it's
what about white renters? With what was it?
That's me.
Yeah,
that also hates women.
I also hate women.
Yeah.
Welcome to Pop Topics.
But no, just this whole everyone's these people. They're like the amendments are the only thing that matter, man. It's like I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. When you're just like it's like the Joe Rogan joke.
It's basic human decency. You got the human factor.
It's the Joe Rogan joke where he said like the people that wrote it with feathers back when there wasn't a such thing as electricity, and we just agree with everything they said. Come on, it's crazy. And you know, to be fair, amendments, the word amend. And amendments are things that were changed about the Constitution. That's what an amendment is.
10.
But an amendment is...
The first 10 shouldn't be... those are the Bill of Rights, right? Are those the same thing? Bill of Rights and the...
Yeah, the first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights.
Where are you at? I need your help.
The first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it's 10, but I know the first whatever.
The commandments? Is that what Jesus brought down? Jesus brought that down from a burning bush on top of Mount Sinus.
The 10 crack commandments.
The 10 crack commandments.
That
crack amendments.
Notorious B.I.G. gave us. I do believe in those. I do believe that those are... that's not a living, breathing document. I believe that the 10 crack commandments are the only thing that matters.
Fair. Let's just go to a thug mansion. Shout out Tupac. So let's see what else Glenn had to say. He said, Bill Maher is a hypocrite because you think using a joke because of you thinking... Wait, oh, sorry, buddy. He's a hypocrite because of you think using a joke, using the N-word on... Glenn, help me out with this one. Jeez. You know for a fact that he's doing this around his friends. True humor. Again, we don't know if that's true. He's a guy who will tell people to stop doing things that cause controversies, yet he's doing it even more than he should. Okay, that's fair. Cool. Caleb, yeah, I know. Chitlin, I'm not going to be at Bonnaroo this year. Unfortunately, I'll be working CMAs. So that's true. Yep, and Robin did clarify. The first 10 are the Bill of Rights.
Boom. We're practically
Robin,
Americans.
Robin, I had a dream about you the other day.
We're almost Americans.
We're almost there. I'm gonna do. Do you want to do a speed round?
No, I don't.
No, you're not feeling it?
Yeah, I think we gotta get out of here. I think we've hit our mark.
We got it. Yeah. What else?
Are we gonna do this where we just keep going? I don't know. Should we do the show?
I mean, I'd like to do a little maybe.
Well, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go tell jokes.
Yeah,
oh, I forgot to do my dates.
Dates.
We'll do it at the end. I only have one date.
This is it.
And I gotta find it.
What's his
name?
I
gotta find it real quick. Tomorrow night I will be at Third Coast Comedy Club at 8 p.m. in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to be a part of the JT Tolerates Josh comedy tour. I'm going to be on a show with Laura Peak, Chad Ryden, JT Habersat, Josh McClain, and Chad says, did I say Chad Ryden? He's also going to be on the show.
I think so.
Chad said on the Facebook that there could also be some surprise guest spots from comedians that are in town for Bonnaroo. So who knows? Also, Dusty Slay is on that show. So,
I love Dusty Slay.
We'll see how that goes.
Making that fudge. Loving me some Dusty Slay.
Guys, there we go.
That's it. This is the show. This is Pop Topics, the show with all the media news you need, none of the opinions you want. I'm Casey.
I'm Matt.
And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/FiftyFiftyOne Radio. We had a lot of viewers today. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Again, that's 5051 Radio, spell it out. And then we have, we're on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/FiftyFiftyOne Radio. YouTube, we have a YouTube page. Just head to our Facebook page and click the link there. We need to get 100 subscribers in order to get a customized URL. So if you could help us out with that, it's amazing. iTunes. Matt posts these up on iTunes every week, very promptly. Just to go to iTunes, your podcast app, and just search 5051, and it's going to be right there. It says Pop Topics. Cool. We'll be back next Tuesday, 4 to 6. Go Preds. We might have a Stanley Cup winner.